Today, the House Oversight Committee is releasing subpoenaed bank records that show Hunter Biden's business entity, Owasco PC, made direct monthly payments to Joe Biden. This wasn't a payment from Hunter Biden's personal account, but an account for his corporation that received payments from China and other shady corners of the world.
No wonder MAGA Republican James Comer doesn't want to hold any public committee hearings to get Hunter Biden's testimony as offered by Hunter Biden. MAGA Republican James Comer, let's face it, is an idiot. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. What James Comer is talking about there has been known for a long period of time, except Detective James Comer over there doesn't mention the key facts, like this payment, $1,380, three of those payments for a total of $4,140 was made in 2018 when President Biden was not the president, when he was not the vice president, when Hunter Biden was struggling from drug addiction and couldn't afford to make a payment for a new car, and Joe Biden lent him money for a Ford Raptor, which then Hunter reimbursed his dad for, three payments in the amount of $1,380. This has all been documented in multiple emails and spreadsheets from that laptop that the MAGA Republicans have been talking about for a long, long time. Heck, the New York Post wrote a story about this back in April of 2022. This is old news. This doesn't show anything at all, and this is going to once again backfire in MAGA Republican James Comer's face. And just so you can see the documents, because I always want to show you everything here on the MeidasTouch Network, here's that $1,380 payment. Katie Dodge is Hunter Biden's assistant, and you see her referencing this payment, $1,380 for the Ford Raptor right there. Here it is on another spreadsheet right here that's attached to the email, the 2018 Ford Raptor truck payment. And this relates to, and it's documented in the emails, as Hunter transitions into his career. These are payments that Hunter had to pay back his father when his father lent him this money when Hunter didn't have credit and couldn't afford to buy the Ford truck on his own. So that's what this is. And as our editor-in-chief at MeidasTouch.com sarcastically remarked, it's clear that when Hunter Biden paid his dad $4,140 in 2018, the Chinese government knew that he would be president in 2021, and that $4,000 laundered through a truck loan was going to open a lot of doors for them on policy. Comer has cracked the case. Treason. Obviously, Philip Kowski's being sarcastic there, but that is what James Comer is referring to. So it's not surprising why James Comer would not want to hold a public committee hearing with Hunter Biden when Hunter Biden said, I'm happy to talk about that. I'll talk about whatever. Just bring me before the committee. Bring me in public. I will testify. Comer said that he would be too afraid. He implied at least that he would be afraid. He doesn't want, he calls Little Moskowitz. He makes fun of Democratic Congress member Jared Moskowitz, who he also calls a Smurf, and Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin and others. And here you'll see James Comer go, why would I want to let those people get to ask questions also? Here, play this clip of James Comer.
But, you know, as these congressional investigation, these hearings go, you've got 20 members on each side that have 5 minutes each. We have tens of thousands of pages of documents where we need to sit down and ask specific substantive questions without filibustering, without interruptions, without going 5 minutes back and forth with Jamie Raskins and Dan Goldman and Little Moskowitz jumping up and down, filing motions and trying to disrupt the committee hearings.
Because, like everything, it all unravels very, very quickly. Like, y'all remember the very first impeachment inquiry hearing that was held, and the witness, the supposed star, one of the star witnesses at the first hearing, said that there was not evidence of any impeachable offenses. That was their first witness for the MAGA Republicans. Remember that? Here, play this clip.
In fact, I do not believe that the current evidence would support articles of impeachment.
Or remember when Raja Krishnamurthy, Democratic Congress member, was questioning some of these so-called whistleblowers for these MAGA Republicans, these IRS agents who were complaining about things that were happening while Donald Trump was in office, and these so-called whistleblowers refused to even answer the questions. Here, play this clip.
You were concerned about the complexities of the election cycle and potential delays that arose in connection with the election cycle. You said at page 23, and I remember there were always times where we were always on an impending election cycle. It was always the elections being brought up in early 2020. It was the presidential primaries. Now, sir, Joe Biden was not the president at that time either, was he?
I mean, the answer to your question is no, he was not, but I don't see where you referenced it in my, for me to
Page
follow
23.
along.
You're talking about how the election cycle is delaying decisions by the prosecution. And it turns out that the delay in the election cycle was happening at a time when Joe Biden was not the president.
I'm sorry, sir. That's in Special Agent Ziegler's transcript. That's why I couldn't find it.
So Mr. Ziegler and you shared concerns about delays related to the election cycle. But at that time, Joe Biden was not the president.
I believe at that time he was the nominee for president.
But, well, he was not the president, was he? It's just a simple question, sir.
Can you rephrase what time period?
Joe Biden was not the president in the presidential primaries in 2020.
Correct. That is correct.
Sir, finally, Mr. Shapley, you said that warrants were ready as soon as April 2020 to begin searching for records, but actions weren't taken with regard to those warrants. Again, Joe Biden was not the president in April 2020, was he?
So I'm confused by your line of questioning. We're talking about an election to which now President Biden was a part of. So he didn't have to be the president to have election meddling.
No, but the question is this. Was he the president at that time in April 2020?
It's been asked and answered.
And what's the answer, sir?
The election.
The answer is yes or no?
Is no.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you. I yield back.
And ultimately, when we talk about this backfiring on James Comer, I mean, once again, it just highlights everything this man says is just complete and utter garbage. Number two, if you have that fact, then why don't you cross-examine Hunter Biden about it in testimony? Hunter Biden said he's willing to talk about it, so why don't you cross-examine Hunter about it? By the way, Hunter Biden's lawyer has responded, and Hunter Biden's lawyer has basically said, again, this is just complete and utter BS. It's more of the same. Let me read you from Abby Lowell, his lawyer. There, Chairman Comer goes again, reheating what is old as new to try to revive his sham of an investigation, Hunter's lawyer said. The truth is, Hunter's father helped him when he was struggling financially due to his addiction and cannot secure credit to finance the truck. When Hunter was able to, he paid his father back and took over the payments himself. As I mentioned, the New York Post wrote about this in April of 2022, which MAGA Republican Chair Comer is trying to repackage and present this as breaking news. But can I ask us a question here? What about this guy? What about Jared Kushner? And this isn't like a whataboutism. It's just, we know what this loan went to. We know that this was for a truck payment. It's been documented. Biden wasn't in office. What are we even talking about here? Let's take a look at this guy.
In Gaza is a very, very complicated place. I mean, we studied it for 4 years. We were very closely watching all the different incursions. We managed Hamas and their malicious activities very, very closely to avoid situations like this. And the place is booby-trapped like crazy.
So that is Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner, who received $2 billion from the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, about $1 billion, $1.5 billion more for other Middle East nations. He couldn't secure a security clearance, Jared Kushner. And nonetheless, because of our national intelligence agencies believed he was compromised. That's why he couldn't get a security clearance, or he could be compromised. And nonetheless, he was like put in charge of our Middle East policy. He was an absolute and utter disaster. MBS, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, said that he had Jared Kushner in his pocket. Jared Kushner apparently gave MBS potentially gave him a list of enemies of Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, you have Ivanka Trump getting trademarks from China instantaneously. And it's just Ivanka and Jared Kushner, not $4,140 or whatever it is, when Biden was not the VP, when Biden was not the president, when Biden had not even announced he was running. How about the fact that Kushner and Ivanka made over $650 million, $700 million, close to that, while they had official positions for the United States government that they weren't elected to, while Donald Trump was in office? Are you kidding me? And then left? And after someone said, I have this person in my pocket, got $2 billion to manage? And the MAGA Republicans, James Comer, refused to do a public hearing with Hunter Biden, but want to go in front of that weird green screen or whatever the heck that even is, and then say that they found these documents totaling repayment of a loan when Biden was not in office. What are you talking about? I mean, this should just aggravate the crap out of us. Because I don't care what political parties. It's just wrong what these MAGA Republicans are doing. It's pathetic. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers. Thanks to your support. Have a good one.
Hey, Midas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.